Welcome back to Alpha Recap. We're wrapping up today's market tape with the headlines that moved Monday. Regulatory shocks, big AI partnerships, and some real volatility in crypto funds. As always, if you have questions, you can reach us at stockalpha.ai.
Thanks for having me. Lots to unpack from the close. From a federal probe into a fatal auto crash to validation events for robotics safety. It felt like a full-spectrum market day.
Let's start with the big regulatory story. The U.S. opened a probe into a fatal Tesla crash in Texas. That was the standout headline, right?
Absolutely. The investigation into the Texas crash is the clearest market mover here. Analysts note that when regulators step in, headline risk climbs. Compliance costs can go up, and depending on the findings, you could see recalls, fines, or litigation that pressure margins and sentiment.
So, what really stands out here is the asymmetric downside risk. One announcement can compress a bunch of assumptions into an uncertainty premium.
Exactly. I mean, when you step back and look at this, it's not just a single incident. It feeds into broader discussions about autonomous driving systems, safety validation, and regulatory oversight.
Short reactions.
Right. Wow.
Moving from legal risks to legal filings. There were also several class action notices this morning for other companies, plus a Form 4 filing for JP Morgan Chase.
Those class action lead plaintiff solicitations, names like Commvault, Vera Mobility, and AeroVironment, are early stage, but they set the tempo for litigation. And Form 4s, while informational, can feed activist narratives or governance checks.
In plain English, that means more headline volatility until courts and regulators tell us more.
Right, and the market tends to price that as an extra risk factor until outcomes are clearer.
Let's pivot to the AI and robotics theme. NVIDIA popped up in a validation story with FORT Robotics. Expand on that.
FORT Robotics expanded its trust layer with an outside-in safety integration tied to NVIDIA Halos for robotics. Practically, that's a validation event. Third-party tooling proving safety and perception in physical AI systems. It's the kind of partnership that helps enterprises feel safer deploying robots in the field.
So partnerships like this move AI out of the lab and into real deployments.
Exactly. Vendors are commercializing AI by leaning on platform partners for credibility and distribution. We also saw a defense tech memorandum of understanding in Korea, and Salesforce teaming with an F1 outfit to use AI for fan engagement. Different end markets, same pattern.
And when you see platform names involved, the adoption curve often feels steeper.
Right. And the other thing is these validation stories can be proxy signals for near-term revenue acceleration. Case studies with measurable gains accelerate buy-in.
Short reaction.
Yeah, that tracks.
Honestly, I was a bit surprised by this one.
Me too, but in a good way. It's what you want to see as the tech matures.
Let's talk product launches. 3M rolled out an AI assistant called Ask 3M for material selection. Why does that matter?
Ask 3M is a customer-facing automation play. If it shortens sales cycles or reduces support cost, that's a subtle but durable margin lever for industrials. Customer experience automation keeps showing up across sectors, and that can change retention and unit economics over time.
Drive Social Media also reassured advertisers on campaign effectiveness after a big platform change, and a study found 1 in 3 Americans would switch brands rather than wait on hold. CX matters.
Definitely. It's a recurring theme. Firms that improve CX and self-service tools can win share over time.
On the infrastructure side, United accelerated Starlink installs on wide-body aircraft. They put it on a Boeing 777 for a Newark to London flight and expect about 60 wide-body installs this year. That's a notable rollout for in-flight connectivity.
That could boost ancillary revenue and improve the international product. On a different infrastructure note, a market projection put global EV charging infrastructure at about $239 billion by 2033. So the long horizon is still very big for charging networks.
Energy credit headlines included a loan amendment where Sable Offshore extended terms with Exxon, easing near-term default risk.
Right. Creditor willingness to provide runway can be a sign that stressed credits are getting temporary relief. But you still have to read the maturity dates and covenant changes carefully.
Now, volatility and market microstructure. This was loud today. The ProShares Bitcoin Strategy ETF slipped about 2% on heavy volume.
And that heavy volume was about 323 million shares traded. Another crypto-linked fund slid about 3.5% on roughly 270 million shares. Elevated turnover with real percentage declines looked like distribution rather than a liquidity quirk.
So, high volume plus decline suggests genuine de-risking?
Yes, price action matters. When you see meaningful declines on big volume, it's typically more than noise. Traders were actively offloading positions, and that can pressure correlated risk assets.
Not a great day for momentum or crypto-linked names then.
Exactly. Pattern observed? Regulatory friction plus concentrated volume in crypto and momentum names is prompting episodic risk-off repricing through the session.
Quick hits on healthcare. Systimune won a first approval in China for a novel bispecific ADC for nasopharyngeal carcinoma. And Phanes completed enrollment in a phase 2 study for pancreatic cancer.
Those are classic binary events. An approval opens commercialization questions, pricing, reimbursement, launch timing, while an enrollment completion moves a program closer to a readout, which raises headline risk and potential partnership interest.
Analyst moves worth a note. Goldman reinstated coverage of Estee Lauder with a positive stance. And Oppenheimer raised a price target on Onto Innovation, citing AI platform strength. Market reaction was muted, but these notes can influence sentiment over time.
Analyst coverage can be a supporting narrative, especially when it's paired with product or partnership momentum.
Rapid fire recap. Quick lines, then we'll do takeaways.
JP Morgan submitted a Form 4 with ownership details. Commvault, Vera Mobility, and AeroVironment faced class action solicitations. United flew its first wide-body Starlink service and expects about 60 installs. 3M launched Ask 3M. Sable Offshore and Exxon agreed a loan extension.
Okay, what should listeners watch tomorrow?
First, any official updates on the Tesla probe, regulator statements, or company commentary would be market-moving. Second, court dockets for the class action filings. Early motions set discovery timelines. Third, follow-through volume in crypto-linked funds, whether technical support holds. Also watch for any deployment case studies from NVIDIA or FORT Robotics that quantify safety or efficiency gains. Finally, keep an eye on United for feedback on Starlink service and on 3M for early customer adoption metrics.
Clear takeaways for listeners.
1. Legal and regulatory headlines increased headline risk across sectors. That compresses valuation windows until clarity arrives. 2. AI is moving from demos to deployments via partnerships. Validation equals lower perceived deployment risk and faster commercialization. 3. Elevated volume with declines in crypto-linked ETFs signaled de-risking, not just noise. And 4. Infrastructure and CX automation remain structural themes where policy and rollout cadence will separate winners from the rest.
Quick reaction.
Makes sense.
Final reminder. This episode was a market recap after the close and for informational purposes only. Analysts note the headlines that could affect pricing, but nothing here is personalized investment advice.
Correct. We didn't recommend buying or selling any particular security. Use multiple sources and consult a licensed advisor for personalized guidance.
If you have questions about anything we covered today, head to stockalpha.ai, where you can ask us directly and we'll answer live. For more market analysis and insights, visit stockalpha.ai. Thanks for listening to Alpha Recap. I'm glad you joined us.
Thanks. We'll see you tomorrow after the close.